Welcome to Ghosted by the Machine, the podcast where job seekers break through the noise and the bots. 5 questions, 5 minutes, no filters, and no fluff. Just real stories from the front lines of the job hunt. I'm your host, Mark Lane, and today's guest is Jillian O'Malior, a fractional brand and marketing executive from Walnut Creek, California, who's currently looking for a role in employer brand and talent marketing. Welcome, Jillian, to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, it's a beautiful day out there. Hope you're having a good day out there in Southern California. Do me a favor. Tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what kind of work you're looking for, and how long have you been on the job hunt?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start with how long I've been on the job hunt. I am about 9 days out from my 1-year anniversary of my layoff. So I'm at a year now that I have been unemployed. I have been in the brand and marketing space for about 16 years now. In the past 9 years, I've been very specifically focused on employer brand and talent marketing, and I really feel like I found my niche in all of that. So that is where I have been primarily looking, though I'm very open to internal comms and general brand and marketing and things that I have other experience in.
So from your perspective, has AI helped or hurt your job search, and why?
I think it's helped, but I use it pretty sparingly. Really, the way that I've used it is I've crafted a few different versions of my resume. I say a few, I think I'm at like over a dozen, quite frankly. I've crafted those myself, and then I've used AI to tighten up the language because I am a wordy gal. I use 50 words where 5 are necessary. And so in order to keep things a little more ATS friendly, I've used AI to do that. I've also used it to kind of match up to specific job roles to make sure that my resume is well mirroring whatever kind of the key elements of that job rec and that job description is. But that's the majority of the way I've used it. I haven't really used it just to kind of streamline my work. I haven't used it too heavily in any other direction.
Okay. So I have an extra credit question for you.
Give it to me.
How many jobs have you applied for in this year?
Ooh, I think I'm just hovering around 600.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're right there. You're in the top 5 of the ones I've talked to. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
amazing.
I'll give you a second follow-up question. How many interviews have I gotten as a result?
How many?
4.
Yep,
4
you're in line with
companies.
everyone else. That's pretty much what I
Uh-huh.
hear.
And none of them have come by way, none of the jobs that I have interviewed for have come by way of like me applying to a job through a career site. They have all come from people either in my network or like, for instance, a headhunter recruiter, an executive recruiter seeking me out. Those are the only way they've come through.
Wow. So what would you consider your secret skill or superpower that doesn't always come through on those 600 applications or resumes you put out?
Yeah, because I mean, resumes are just like, I think there's such an outdated way of understanding if someone is a good candidate. I would say one of my secret skills is that I am particularly good at explaining complex topics and complex ideas in ways that almost anyone can comprehend. I am, like I said, I'm a wordy gal. I'm very verbal. I like to talk things through. And I find that I am really good at explaining things in a way that people listen and people understand and they comprehend. And because I am in employer brand, which is meant to be some of the most authentic form of storytelling that we do in the brand world, having that skill is extra important.
So if you could say one honest thing to recruiters or hiring managers right now, what would it be?
It would be that I think we can all agree that the system is very broken. This system itself is broken, and there is a lot of stress on recruiters, and there are a lot of stress on hiring managers, and there's a lot of stress on candidates. But the thing that I would ask them to remember is that their stress is about the ability to do their job and to do it in an efficient and an effective way. And the vast majority of candidates right now, their stress is on the fact that this is their survival. So many people are unemployed. So many people are in long-term unemployment, 6 months or more. And so while I completely understand the stress that recruiters go through, because that's where my experience was, these are the folks that I worked with. When you do too many rounds of interviews, when you ask too much of your candidates, when you ghost, when you delay, when you are unclear with what the process is, that comes down to the candidate a lot of time, their ability to just survive. They're waking up day to day saying, do I have enough money in my bank account to buy food? Am I going to get this job, or do I have to focus elsewhere? And so part of the stress of the candidates is the fact that this is genuine this is genuine life stuff. And your frustrations are totally valid, but your frustrations aren't about whether or not you're going to put food on the table tonight.
Well, despite all the challenges, what's keeping you hopeful right now?
So I'm allowing myself to not necessarily be hopeful, because I think that's okay. Because I think a year into it, with the way that this has been, I would be lying if I said that I had hope. But that's okay, because my resilience doesn't have to come from hope. My resilience can come from just something that is innate in me. It comes from my sense of humor about what is going on here. It comes from the fact that I have been able to pivot myself a little bit and share my story. And a lot of what's driving me forward right now is that I have stopped caring about playing the game. I kind of just woke up one day, I would say like a month or so ago, and I went, you know what? Being the good corporate girl has not been working out for me. So what happens if I just stop? What happens if I'm just honest about what a mess this is, how difficult this is, how terrifying this is, how vulnerable I feel every single day as a single mom with no income in this home? And what if I just talk about that? And in doing that, that has propelled me, because that has resonated with people, and people are following me, and people are talking to me, and people are sharing their stories. And I think everyone is done with the toxic positivity. Everyone is done with hope core. Everyone is done with just like, woke up today and grind and 50 more applications, but one of them's going to be the thing. Yeah, it might not actually. And that sucks, but that's reality. And
Right.
Reality is fine. We don't have to mask it with toxic positivity. We can just say, this sucks. This is hard. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm still doing it. And that's all I got, folks.
You're speaking the language a lot of us are hearing.
Mm-hmm.
That's really why I started this podcast, because I've been sitting around going, what am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
My head hurts from beating against the wall.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to make that change, and you have to look a different route, and that's what we're doing. And I really appreciate you being on today. Huge thank you for being on the show. If
Yeah,
you're hiring
thank
and
you.
know someone, I tell you right now, I just feel like this should just keep going, because this is a great conversation. but but a huge thank you to Jillian for being with us today. If you're hiring or know someone who she should meet, check out their LinkedIn profile in the show notes. If you want to be on the podcast, email me, DM me, or comment on LinkedIn or our social platforms. We're always looking for real voices, just like Jillian's, in this ghost town of job search silence. This is Ghosted by the Machine. Let's make hiring human again. Thanks again, Jillian. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, Mark. You too.